Hello, everybody. This is Winston here on the Sir Winston podcast. And today, episode 7, I want to talk about journey. Now, everyone has a journey and everyone has something that they want to achieve in life. And I'm going to tell you a little story about my journey about becoming a singer. Now, when I was 4, I used to sing every day with my brother in the basement. We used to sing church songs. We would sing them all the time. We even made our own church song. And I wanted to become a great singer like Prince, Marvin Gaye, Michael Jackson. So what I did was I set out on a journey to sound good. I used to sing everywhere. I would sing in the car. I would sing in the house. I would sing on the back porch. Now, I wasn't as great as I am right now because I felt like my voice wasn't coming in yet. It was young. I was young. My voice was changing every time. So I had to keep going. I had to keep singing. I had to keep going in the journey. And it was hard. And then I said to myself, I wanted to play an instrument. And I didn't know how to play a little bit of piano. My friend gave me a little Casio keyboard. And he told me, hey, you could just play on this. And I played on that for a little bit. And I wasn't good. I only had 1 or 2 chords. And then when I was 13, I got a guitar and I said, I want to write my own songs with this. And I want to make sure that I want to do this, I want to do this. But the journey was, going through those endless nights of not knowing how to play or not knowing what chords I'm playing, and being embarrassed. And the message of this story is, don't worry about being embarrassed. Don't worry about being great at first. You're going to look a certain way now, but years later, you're going to look like, wow, people are going to be like, wow, this is a great thing that you're doing. It's the journey that you have to go through when you want to do something creative or just anything in life. It's the journey. A lot of people have journeys, I was just looking at Steve Jobs, and he wasn't a great student. I mean, he loved school, but he wasn't a great student. And then he dropped out, but he ended up keeping enrolled, and he went to a class about typography. And he loved that typography class. And it's so funny because as soon as he learned that typography, he said, hey, when I create computers, I'm going to incorporate typography in my computers. So that was kind of something that he did. And he said, oh, you know what? I don't really like school, but I do like this class typography, and I want to incorporate it in my computers. And now look at Apple. Apple has their own fonts. They created their own fonts. They created their own database. So that was the journey. Colonel Sanders, he had the chicken recipe for super long time. I mean, he had owned a gas station, went bankrupt, wife left him, but he knew that he could become a household name. But the journey that he had to go through, he was 65 until he got really famous. I mean, it's crazy that you would think that someone like that would just go, oh man, you know what? I love chicken. I want to bring this to the people. And then he ended up making $1 million, It was the journey that he had that really just moved forward and stuff. A lot of people have journeys that, and the journey doesn't it's fast forward to us when we see the person that's on the top or doing something that we want to do. We see the finished product, but we haven't seen the blood, sweat, and tears that it took for them to actually make what they're making or doing what they're doing. So we just see the finished product, but we don't see the blood, sweat, and tears. And the one thing I want to let people know is that you have to enjoy the journey. Enjoying the journey is the best part. I believe that's the best part in life. Whether you want to be an entrepreneur or you want to work for a big firm, or you just want to accumulate a lot of money, or you just want to be famous. I mean, you enjoy the journey of becoming that. I was watching the Taylor Swift thing on Netflix, and she just used to write. She wrote every day. She wrote music. She just wrote every day. She sat and played guitar and sang. And she would act it out like she was playing in front of millions of people. And she happened to get recognized from a little label. Now, what they were saying, that they were like, hey, we don't have a lot of money to put into you. But she said, you know what? It's okay. I want to put the work in. So she went everywhere to sing. I mean, she woke up, got in her car with her mother, and they performed everywhere and sang everywhere. And they was like, hey, we're going to make music. We got to make as much music as we can. And then throughout her journey, she blew up. But guess what? As soon as she blew up, she still had to have a journey, because she said, hey, I want to make music. I'm growing up. All my fan base is growing up with me. So she started making more different types of music and started stepping up her game at every album. And now look at Taylor Swift. She's the greatest, I believe. But, this is a journey, So I like to give a couple of tips on how you can, stay on the journey of your path, and if it feels good. Number one, if it feels good, if it feels like it's something that you're doing, it feels good. Sometimes we do things because we look at other people and we go, oh, I want to become a hockey player because that person's a great hockey player. That doesn't mean that you can't play hockey. But, you have to look at the thing that you do that is so effortless. It's an effortless move to you. So that's one thing that you have to do. Number two will be staying on your journey and staying on your path, is reminding yourself that what are you doing it for? I'm doing it for because I would love to become a basketball player, or I would love to become a mechanic and create my own cars. You know that you want to do this. And this is a personal goal. It don't have to be everybody else's goal. It can be a personal goal that you want to do. I mean, I don't do music because, I do music for myself, and I do music to make people feel good. And that's the two things that make me feel good and keeps me going. Because if I didn't love do music, I would have gave up a long time ago. So you just have to find out what's in it for you. And the third tip that I always like to say is, like I've said in my podcast, is be consistent. Sometimes we don't want to be consistent on something. Sometimes you have to just do a little bit of every day, do a little bit at it every day and, be in it, maybe read books about, what you want to do, or maybe listen to tutorials, or listen to testimonials, or listen to people's story. I love to, when I used to want to become a great music artist and want to create a great album, I would always look at what was the story behind the album. Prince is my favorite artist, and he would have a story like, hey, I was creating this, and then I kind of switched over to this, and then, I was looking at, I went to go to Paris or something, and I had a very beautiful time there, and that's how I created Parade, and it was kind of fun to like read about the stories about the album. So I noticed that the album was something that he did, and it was part of his life, So every time he made an album, it was a big part of his life. And I love to take that. So the journey, if you listen to his music, it's a journey of his life. So, I would like to listen to, your comments and hear from you guys. Again, I'm keeping my consistency and putting out a podcast Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So I like to thank everybody for listening. Until next time, peace.